How's everyone doing? Do you know what, guys and girls, it's been a while since I did some dating advice and relationship stuff, and I really feel like doing some videos on it. I'm really in the mood. I go through stages like different seasons, like the weather, where I might talk about social anxiety, and then I'll talk about beating porn addiction, and then I'll talk some boxing, some sports, and then I might talk about films. But dating and relationship is something that I've got a ton of experience, a hell of a lot of experience, and surprises me actually, considering how much I struggled when I started out. We can get into that in this video. So stay on this video. I'm going to answer some questions on dating. I'm going to give you the best advice I can give you guys, and I think the girls can take some of the advice as well. Usually girls do, well, not all girls, all women, but a lot of women have always kind of liked the videos that I've done for advice for men, because they've been able to apply it as well. Obviously not everyone's going to like my advice, and that's fine, that's life. No one's going to like everything that you say and do. So first question is, what's my thoughts on online dating? Tinder, Match.com, all the dating sites. That's probably the most common question I've been getting since I've been making YouTube videos. It's been going for years. I've answered it so many times, but I guess people still want to know my opinion on it and some advice. So first of all, if you're asking me, do I do online dating? The answer is no. No with a capital N. It personally doesn't appeal to me, right? I'm open-minded. I'll try new things. I tried it years ago when I was younger, when it first came on the scene, and everyone was excited. Oh, by the way, hit that like button and subscribe to my channel if you want to gain more confidence, especially if you've got social anxiety and you want to improve dating, confidence and social skills, right? I've got a ton of experience. I can share that with you. So also, as always, let me know your thoughts in the box below, and you really want to stay on this video to the end. You're going to come away with a lot of value, and I think you're going to be quite surprised at what's going to be given in this video today. Let me just get this coffee down me. I hope everyone's keeping good, by the way. So when it first came along the scene when I was younger, probably, when was it, in the 90s, the late 90s, maybe early 2000s, probably 2000s actually, right? I'm not completely factual on dates, right, but around then, right? It was exciting because before online dating, there was only really, you could meet a girl, or a girl could meet a guy through your social circle, and not everyone had a big social circle. So if you didn't have a big social circle, you couldn't meet someone through it, then that option was out of the question. The next option was going to nightclubs, right? Something we did in our teens, which was a phase, and I never really enjoyed it for most part. I think most people didn't. Obviously you have some good nights, but didn't really have much luck with getting a girlfriend, or it didn't really work out. So if that was out of the question, then the only thing was meeting someone in your local area, like the girl around your area. And there was only, that didn't happen to everyone. Usually there would be like maybe one guy and girl that fell in love with each other from the local neighborhood, or a couple of people. So there just really wasn't enough girls for every guy to date that lived in a certain area. And obviously, usually, in most cases, the most perceived popular guy would get the girl, would attract the woman at that time, right, in that period. And then obviously I'm backtracking here. If you met someone at school, which was your childhood sweetheart, then obviously that kind of took you out of dating, because you were fortunate to fall in love and probably stay with the first person that you met at school, which I think is a lovely thing, but that never happened to me, and for a lot of people that doesn't happen, right? If that's happened to you now, let me know in the box below. If you're still with your childhood sweetheart and you've been together all your life, or if you were together with someone from a long time from school. So, and for those of us that didn't really have, a family or an auntie or a cousin that could introduce us to a girl for a potential girlfriend or relationship, there was nothing else to do. So when the online dating came about, everyone was excited, because in theory it sounded like a brilliant idea. The idea that you didn't have to go out to nightclubs, You didn't have to worry about having to drink alcohol. You didn't have to worry about having to get into fights, you know, in clubs. You didn't have to, you know, rely on friends or family, or put pressure to ask people, oh, could you introduce me to that girl, or could you, you know, yeah, could you put a good word in for me and say that I'm a great guy? Would she want to go out with me, or could you arrange that we do a meet up, or things like that? So it was it made sense, and it felt like it would save a lot of time, because you just go on your laptop or your at the time you couldn't do it on your phone when it first came out, right? You'd go on your computer or your laptop. You'd sign up to one of these dating accounts. I think the first one I remember was called Plenty of Fish, right? And you would join them. You'd upload a picture of yourself. You do a profile about your hobbies, your interests, your education, what you like, some pictures, and then you start looking around. You start looking at other profile pictures of girls that you liked, and if you liked someone, you'd send them a message, and you'd kind of be confident that you'd have some success. You know, that someone would, and you'd always be in hope for the guys. Speaking for the guys, that a girl would message you first and see your profile and say, hey, I like you, I want to go out with you. But in reality, in actual practice, it didn't really go that way. There was a lot of game playing. The odds were really small. You know, the percentages were really small in regards to actually going on a date with someone in person. There was a lot of messing about. There was a lot of, you know, messaging one person, then getting back to you, maybe having a conversation for several weeks. You might even get to speak on the phone, and then the person might change their mind, and then they'll date someone else on the site. Then you might be messaging several people. So there was actually a lot of time wasting, and it took a while. And then, you know, then guys started complaining that they weren't getting any matches. You know, they weren't getting a girlfriend. You know, they weren't even getting a date. For some guys, they weren't even getting a message. You know, all their messages were being ignored. So this started to become the common theme of online dating, that when you'd send a message, you wouldn't get nothing back. Now, I'm not saying that was the case all the time. Obviously, nothing's like, there is grey area. Obviously, there was a percentage of guys that would go on there and would have success. But then there became this kind of, another thing which was only good-looking guys will get success. And there was some truth in that back then with online dating. Any guy, you know, this is not me judging how I say. I don't judge people, you know, solely on their looks, or I don't really think about that anymore. But back then, that's how it was. You know, guys were saying, well, I've got no chance because I'm not model looking. I'm not the best looking guy, and you know, and the jealousy starts coming in. Other guys would see other guys' profiles, say, oh, he's got big muscles, or he's tanned, or he's tall, or he's got a better job than me, and you know, I've got no chance in competing against this guy. The girl's gonna choose him over me. So a lot of negative things started to come out of it. You know, jealousy and the game playing. What I found with online dating, in my own short experience, a lot of people are not genuine when they're online. They don't act the same way as they would if used in person. Yeah, a lot of people, most people, if used in person with them, they would be the nicest, loveliest person, right? And they wouldn't ignore you, and they wouldn't play games. But when someone's behind a keyboard, and I'm not just speaking for women here, I'm speaking for both men and women, both parties, right? People. So people tend to be quite insecure, and they tend to act on that insecurity, and when you're scared of being hurt, you're going to protect yourself, and part of that protection is game playing, is pretending that you're not really interested in someone. And sometimes a girl might be interested in you, but she's afraid of getting hurt, or she doesn't want to come across desperate, or, you know, and I'm going to get to, you know, I want to be really accurate and fair here. Then there was a period where women started to find some guys creepy, right? Which I can understand, because obviously you can't say all guys are like that, because they're not. And I think no guy is going to want to see himself as creepy. I certainly don't want to see myself like that, and I don't believe I am, right? But there was a proportion of guys going on that maybe they probably were acting creepy, you know, sending messages that were just too, you know, that were too forward. And some women don't like that. Some women do, but a lot of women don't like that. And then you start hearing things on the news about, you know, killings and things like that. So that came about. There was a stage of a lot of fear, and then online dating scams. These are things that started to come later on. This is my honest memory, right? I might not be accurate in the exact order, but these were all the things that happened over the years with the online dating. It started to get a bad rep, and it was from both sides. The men were complaining that they couldn't get success, and some women were complaining that they were getting bombarded with thousands of messages from guys. A lot of the messages were creepy and sleazy. And this is not me saying it. I'm only paraphrasing, repeating what was being said at the time. So it started. Online dating always had that. It's a weird thing to say. It was always a bit, in my opinion, it was always a bit tainted. It had that kind of seediness element to it. And then of course there were more online dating companies started bringing out things, and they were trying to make it more safer, which I thought was good. And obviously, you had a market of people that are looking for long-term relationships, so some of the online dating sites catered to that. And then obviously you had people that just wanted one-night stands and to have fun, so you had online dating sites that were catering to that. But sometimes the two got mixed up. So you might have a guy or a woman on an online dating site that isn't looking to have fun and sleep around. They just want to meet a partner and have a life partner and get married. And then they're getting messages from other guys that want to have fun, and that's going to upset them. So a lot of confusion, a lot of, all of these things going on. And I had my small experience of it, and it wasn't great. And I decided, this is not for me. I'm spending my time here trying to convince women that I'm a good person, which I believe I am. And I just want to get a girl from a genuine guy. And I can't find a genuine relationship on these sites. So I personally packed it in years ago, and I started to, my success was always meeting women in public, in everyday situations, in coffee shops. One of my previous girlfriends going back the years, we met in Piccadilly. We met in a tourist place, in the daytime, and I think that's a lovely way to meet, right? And again, it's based on your opinion. And another girlfriend, where did we meet? We met in, again, central London. Most of the girls I met that I dated, long-term relationships, I met them out in daytime, and I walked up and started the conversation. So I will go into the negatives and the positives. Now, I think the negative, and again, this is a lot of things I'm saying is what previous girlfriends have told me, and what female friends and what women have said. I've heard them directly say it to me. Now, and again, this is the thing about today. When you say something, some people get offended. You have to understand that you might not agree with what I'm going to say, and you might not have said it, but there are many other people who have said it. So a lot of women have said to me over the years, "Oh, a lot of the guys on Tinder are creepy. All they want is sex, and I'm not into that. I don't just want a guy using me for that." So and they'll say things like, "Oh, I got some guy messaged me online," and it's not in a positive context. Whereas when a woman's been approached in a library or a museum or a coffee shop or in public or on the street or in a park, in most cases, if you do it the right way, and it's done with you're genuine and you're respectful and you're confident, the common reaction from women is, "I was really impressed, with this guy's confidence and courage, that he was able to approach me, and to compliment me and to tell me that he liked me and start a conversation." And just on the basis of that, and this has been my experience as well, women have said, I gave him my number because I really appreciated the fact that he had the courage, even though he was nervous, to approach me, to be sincere, to compliment. And of course, obviously, the girl in those cases, when it's happened to me and to a lot of other guys, there's obviously been some kind of physical or emotional attraction. There's not always a physical attraction with women, but a lot of times it's more of an emotional attraction, where they just, they feel good about you, and that's because you've got that chemistry with them. So when you compare the two, it's kind of obvious, like, and this is not just, this is the opinion of people. I don't want to generalize here and just think, oh, it's just women that think like that, it's just men that think like that. No, it crosses over with human psychology. We have to admit, we don't really respect someone who just goes online and sends messages in the same way that we respect a person who has got the courage to go and speak to someone on face value. And what I mean by face value is in person. And that could be at a party, that could be at a work do, that could be at a social event, a business event, a dating event, that could be in a coffee shop, traveling on a plane. Because we know deep down, we can't deny these things, that it takes a certain level of confidence and courage to be able to, put yourself on the line, put your ego on the line and have your feelings hurt. Because yeah, you can walk up to someone and say, hi, excuse me, I saw you and I think you're nice, and they could say, sorry, thanks, but I'm not interested in you, or I'm not attracted to you, and that can obviously hurt your feelings. Now of course that can happen with online dating, but it's not the same. Someone turning you down over a message is not as hurtful as someone turning you down in your face in person. So it's the equivalent of giving a public talk in front of a group of people, or jumping out of a plane, or diving in deep water with sharks. That's kind of the equivalent of the fear that men and women have to face in order to walk up to any stranger in any situation and to tell that person you like them or you find them interesting. You have to face your fear to do that. You have to face your social anxiety, your social fears. But to go online, it's a lot more protected, it's a lot more safe. You can always rationalise it and go, oh, maybe they didn't get back, they were busy, or they don't really know me, they've not. It's a different type of it's a different type of strength. So for that regard, a lot of women have told me, and you can just go online and look at what the female dating experts are saying. There's some really good ones online, and just ask amongst your friends. I remember a girlfriend saying to me that I dated, and this is being honest. She said, when you first approached me and started a conversation, I wasn't sure. I wasn't in love with you. I wasn't really attracted to how you looked. But as I spoke to you more, I changed my mind. And then obviously later on, we dated for about 2 years. We were in a long-term relationship, and that's because I had the courage to go over and start a conversation. I was genuine and honest. And she was quite shocked by that, because most of the guys she dated, I'm not saying all of them, but I think a lot of the guys she dated were online, and she wasn't really having any luck herself finding the right person. So there's a lot of mismatching with online dating for a lot of people. So you're not seen the same in a woman's eyes when you message her on a computer on an online platform, as opposed to when you randomly compliment her and start a conversation. Or even it's different if you went to a speed dating event for men and women. I've been to a couple, right, and you know what, they were all right. I'm not going to say they were great, but it was much better than online dating, and I quite like that format. Hopefully they start doing more of those things, right? I think they're all right. So if you go to a speed dating event for single people, and there's 10 women, 10 guys, and they all meet up and they're looking to meet someone, if you walk into that room straight away and you start a conversation with a woman and you appear to be confident, she will appreciate that. She'll be quietly impressed by that, because that still takes confidence. For a lot of people, going to an event is nerve-wracking, but taking the next step to actually say hi and what's your name, even just to say that, hi, how you doing, what's your name, and for her to say, oh, nice to meet you, my name's Johnny, my name's David, nice to meet you, what are your hobbies, what are you interested in? Just to do that is a big deal, because again, when we're trying not to generalise here, I'm just being accurate. Not every guy's got the confidence to do that, and not every woman's got the confidence to do that. And again, there's lots of women that have got the confidence to do that, where they can take the initiative. And I've had quite a few women do it to me, right? It didn't happen for many years when I was shy. that would have approached me at a bus stop, on the street. I've had it in coffee shops, and start a conversation or compliment me or ask me for directions, and then, you know, try and kind of figure out if I'm interested. So I respect that. It does take courage on both sides. But for a woman to message a man online, again, you know, it's the same. If a woman messaged you online, obviously a lot of guys would be happy if they like the girl, but that doesn't take that much courage. But if a woman approached you in public, or, you know, or complimented you or asked you out, you'd be like, whoa, she's got guts, she's confident. So you're not seen as confident when you do online dating. You're just not. I'm sorry, you're not seen as confident. And of course, right, that's the negative side. Of course, now I don't want to be like biased. Now, of course, right, I'm not against online dating in the sense that please do it, because there are a proportion of people out there that have got a different conversation. They've found their life partner on there. So of course, from their perspective, if someone asked them, they're going to say online dating is brilliant because I found my wife on online dating, or a woman's going to say I found my husband, or we found each other. So I know obviously there are, I'm not saying it doesn't work, I'm just saying it's a small percentage of it working as opposed to the larger percentages. I suppose that's the only way we can judge, by the numbers and the percentages. So it's not going to work for every guy, it's not going to work for every woman. And that's the same with, you know, men and women meeting each other in public. It's not going to work for everyone, but it works for a lot of people. For me personally, it's worked for me many times, and without it, I don't think I would have had the dating success and the people that I've met. Also as well, you know, your social skills don't really improve if you stay doing online dating. You know, speaking to someone over a computer is not the same as talking to someone in person. Someone who is talking to people in person more regularly, in most cases, is going to have better social skills than someone that's on the computer. Actually staying on the computer too long, in my experience, my understanding, it starts to deteriorate your social skills with people. And for people that have got social anxiety, doing online dating can be really detrimental to your mental health, especially if you're not able to meet in person. Now obviously, in a perfect world, which we're not living in, if you could just go online dating now, most people, and get a date today and meet that person, you know, next week or the next day, then it would be brilliant, because you'd actually, you know, people would say, well, what difference does it make? I've used online dating and we're in person now. But it's not as easy as that for a lot of people, and I'm sure you guys, what's the time? You're going to tell me in the comments below, and these are things that you guys and girls have been telling me for years. Women and men have said to me that it's, you know, and I've went online today and there's a lot of titles saying online dating is a waste of time. But I will say this, because we're in the pandemic now, online dating is probably a good idea. But that's an exception, you know, we don't have pandemics every month. This is something probably once in our lifetime. So under normal circumstances, I wouldn't recommend single people, men and women that are looking for a relationship or something genuine. I wouldn't recommend doing online dating. I'd recommend meeting in public, in person, wherever that is. Bars, museums, coffee shops, touristic places, planes, trains, you know, out in the open, parks, amusement parks. I'd recommend that way much better, but because we're not able to do that at the moment, I suppose the only other option is online dating, so I wouldn't rely on it. So it obviously has its place now, and I'm sure a lot of people are using it, right? But I will say this, right, because I don't want to be biased, there are some positive things about online dating. It's never going to just be all negative. There are, and I think the positive things are, let me think, I suppose the positive things are, at least you don't have to drink alcohol, you know. I'm not saying people do, but some people do. You don't have to take drugs and alcohol, you know. You don't have to, you know, get up and go to clubs and waste a lot of time and energy, you know, doing these things. It's convenient, you know. You can be on your phone wherever you are. You can sit down, relax, and you can go through profiles. And I suppose there's an element of excitement in that, there's an element of comfort in that, and mystery and intrigue, and I guess I'm not sure about spontaneity. So on that side it's good. Another good thing is, providing that people are being genuine, right? You hope they are, right? At least you can go on someone's profile and read about them and try and get a sense of what they're about. Whereas when you meet someone in person, you don't know anything about them. You can only judge by what you see until you speak to them and get to know them. So I suppose with online dating, you can look at someone's pictures and try and get a sense of who they are, and hopefully what their motives are. Hopefully they're good. Where you can't do that in a way when you're walking down the street and you're kind of looking at people, it doesn't have a sign on their head, you know. So with online dating, I think people say what their occupation is, so you can get some information quicker. That's what I'm saying. But you can't guarantee that that information is always going to be accurate, because people tend to tell porky pies. They tend to lie and exaggerate. I know there's some people that don't lie because they might have a great life and they've got nothing to lie about, and they want to show that. But you have to take that into consideration, that people do. We're going to come to an end soon. This video's been going on for really long. So yeah, I suppose on that side, and you know, I suppose you get to message a lot of people, and that gives you, I don't know, I suppose that might be an advantage, you know, because, you know, in the real world you'd have to talk to 4 or 5 people, where online dating you can speak to 4 or 5 people in seconds. You can send multiple messages, right? And I suppose there's a chance that if you put a good profile up with a nice picture and you make your profile look good, someone can message you out the blue. Whereas in real life, yeah, as I said, people can approach you and ask you out, but that's not guaranteed. So there's no 100% guarantee with both platforms and anything in life, but I suppose you have to do what works for you, and that's going to be my conclusion. I'm not really going to end saying online dating terrible, no one should do it. No, I'm not going to say that. I don't feel that way. It might be great for some. You've got to make the choice. There's no really right or wrong with the online dating and dating in the real world. I've kind of grown to realise that. When I was younger, I was a bit more ignorant. I was like, no, online dating is terrible, no one should do it. But it depends on your values, what you're looking for, who you are, what works for you. I personally prefer dating in person. I like that experience. I think it's a lot more honest, more natural, and it does give you more confidence, and it's nice, you know. Sometimes you don't always want to go have a long-term relationship with someone. You just want to have a conversation with someone and just connect. And maybe with online dating that might not be possible for some men and women, or especially for women, if they're just saying I just want to be friends. You know, it's mixed messages. But yeah, if you can think of any other positives, let me know, because I'm not someone who's done it I've not done online dating I've not really done it, only a little bit years ago. So I want to know the opinions of guys and girls in the box below, and let me know if anything I've said has really helped you. I'm going to do other dating videos, really good dating and relationship advice, but I've kind of gave, my main point was, you know, for the guys, in terms from a woman's point of view, you're not really seen as that confident when you're messaging her online dating site, because anyone can do that. But when you approach a woman in real life, you separate yourself from many other guys, and it's not that anyone's better than anyone. That's not what I believe, but you can't deny the fact that one takes courage and the other one doesn't really take much courage. It's more convenience, it's safe. So that's my point. And you know, when you're in person, you build more confidence by speaking to each other. This goes for men and women. You know, you lower your social anxiety, you improve social skills. I think if you do online dating too long, these things start to deteriorate unless you meet your life partner. That's probably the best thing that you can rely on, that you could, it's not guaranteed, but you can't rule it out completely, that you could meet your wife online dating, or your husband, right? And who knows in the future. So I don't want to try and shoot myself in the foot. I'm not going to shoot myself in the foot, but that's a metaphor. I might try online dating and I might meet my life partner and fall in love. So that's why I'm trying to be careful not to slam it too much, because it could work for me, but at the moment, it's not really something that appeals to me, alright? Become fearless, I'll see you in the next one.